Hey guys, it's Andi.
And Ayla.
And we are Sinister Dynasty. Okay guys, so today I'm going to be covering the Parker-Hulme murder case. So this is a pretty popular one. This was actually made into a movie by a famous New Zealand director.
I haven't seen it,
Yeah.
and I've
I probably should watch it.
only heard of it since I've been doing research.
Yeah, I heard of it in high school, but as everyone knows, I wasn't allowed to watch M movies, so I didn't watch it, and I just haven't been bothered to since. But apparently it's really good. It's got Kate, I forgot her last name, but she's the one in Titanic. The Kate
Middleton.
That's what I'm thinking. I think she's like the princess or something now. But anyway, it's got Kate in it.
Gonna Google. Hold on.
Google it.
Hold on. Oh, what's the movie?
Heavenly Creatures. We'll just cut all of this out.
Oh, I knew we could always keep it in.
Yeah, that's true.
So it is. Feck off.
Hudson. No, it's not Hudson.
Winslet.
Oh, that's right.
Kate Winslet.
So yeah, Kate Winslet. So funny story, all the memes going around at the moment. So there was I saw a meme and I was like, there's another reason why Kate and Leo didn't, Kate and Leo didn't work out on the Titanic, and it's because at the time Kate was 26 years old and because Leo only dates like up to
24. Yeah.
So I found that really funny. But yes, anyway, sorry, big sidetrack. So going back to my case today, the Parker-Hulme case. So this event occurred in Christchurch in 1954. So not super recent, but also kind of recent. I know a lot of people will know about this case. I just did it because I was running out of cases. Yeah. Yeah.
We've got a massive list and Andy's like, I'm running out of cases.
Yeah, I don't know. I get overwhelmed and then, I don't know. Yeah, I'll figure something out for the next ones. Anywho, so I'll start with Pauline Parker. So Parker-Hulme, she was the Parker, obviously. So she was born on the 26th of May in 1938. Her dad was Herbert Rieper. I think that's how you say it. He worked at the local fish shop, and her mum, Honorah Parker, ran a boarding house at home. So another source says that they did different things, but I don't know what was true because I wasn't born back then. So
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with what I know. Honorah went by Herbert's name Rieper, and it was thought by the public that they were married. They weren't married, she just took his last name, kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Yeah, exactly. She's working on it. She knows what she wants. She really does. Good on her. So another girl, Juliet Hulme, yeah, I think that's how you say it, was born in London on the 28th of October 1938. So she is the other half of this murder case. Dun 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 dun.
A plot twist.
Plot twist.
Didn't see that one coming.
She and her family relocated to Christchurch, where her dad got the role of a rector of Canterbury University. I'm guessing that's like rector. So I'm guessing that means that he ran.
We're just going to pause to fix Boo.
Hey, Boo-Boo. Come here, baby. Be our guest speaker. We've just got Boo with us at the moment.
So if you hear purring in the background, appreciate it.
Yeah, please appreciate it. She's very cute. Check out our Instagram post for how cute she is. She's very sweet. I actually forgot where I was up to. Oh yeah, so Juliet Hulme, so her dad got the role of rector of Canterbury University, so I guess that means that he ran the whole place. It turns out they were like very rich, so I'm guessing he did run the place. So good on them. I can see why they relocated. That's a very, very good choice. Pauline and Juliet met at Christchurch Girls High School in the early 1950s, and they bonded together over the fact that they couldn't join in PE due to their health issues. So fair enough, I suppose if you're the only two people on the sideline, you get to chatting. So the health issues, I did go into a little bit. Pauline was diagnosed with osteomyelitis, and that's an infection of the bone which can lead to bone inflammation.
So that sounds
very
awful.
Very nasty. Doesn't sound very fun. So I can see why she was sitting out of PE. So it's usually fixed by surgery, which removes the infected bone.
I sat out of
Surgery.
PE because I didn't like the shit.
I had to like forge notes sometimes and join in. I joined in most of the time, but some days she just didn't want to do it.
No.
Yeah. And Juliet had tuberculosis, which caused coughing and fevers. Yeah, so I can definitely see why they didn't join in for sports.
Yeah, I can't say I'd want to with that
No.
kind of thing going on either.
Yeah. So as the girls got closer and closer, they started creating their own fantasy life together using the names of Gina and Deborah. I don't know which way around they went, but if I was them and I was choosing a name for myself, I wouldn't call myself Gina or Deborah. Fact.
Can't say I would either.
No.
That's interesting. It's
Well-
an interesting thing to do.
Well, again, they're like young girls in high school. I can't remember how old they are. I'm sure I said it.
No, yeah, I don't think you do.
Oh, in the early 1950s. So in 1950, they would have been 12. So 12
that's
plus.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
pretty normal then, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's what they were doing. But again, Gina and Deborah, no offense to people called those names, but I'd call myself something better, like Beyonce. So they wrote lots of plays and stories based on their experience in this world of theirs. So obviously they were just living in it and they loved it so much. They were like, yeah, let's write something.
That's quite cute.
It is very nice, yeah. So they eventually ended up making their own religion.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so that's, but a little bit weirder.
Interesting.
And a little bit interesting. And they also had their own ideas of morality in this religion kind of thing. So they believed in their own version of heaven and they called it the fourth wall. And everything was just kind of, I mean, they were living their best lives in their own world, I guess. And maybe they frequently visited. Oh, they did. That's what I say next. They felt that they could visit the fourth wall on occasion. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean,
It's
best friends
interesting.
do get up to weird things together, so
Oh,
yeah.
God, yes, definitely.
Yeah, so they actually spent so much time together that both sets of parents thought they were dating. So they were just in each other's company non-stop.
I think that happened to me and my best friend as well.
Yeah, fair. I pretty much lived at my best friend's house.
Same.
Yeah. Thanks, Emily. Appreciate
Yeah,
you.
cheers, Bella.
So this was worrying at the time as homosexuality was considered a serious mental illness. So, yeah, that's a worry in both parts for
Yeah.
them and also because it was considered a serious mental illness.
Yeah.
So I'm glad most of the world's changed their views on it, I hope. Should be all, but that's cool. We won't get into it because
That's
we are
nice.
a murder podcast and not another podcast.
That's nice that they had their own world to, like, escape in and, like, besties being besties.
Yeah, it is nice. The religion thing's a bit strange, just between two of them, but that's cool. Again, whatever
do
they
you.
want to do.
You do you.
Yeah, so Pauline was still invited out with the Holmes after that though, even though they thought they were dating, and it goes into it saying that the Holmes again were like quite rich, and so Pauline just tagged along with them. Kind of
Fair
thing.
enough.
Yeah. So these outings continued up until 1953. Oh yes, they would have been about 15 at this time. And in 1954, Juliet's parents divorced because Mrs. Holm was having an affair. Ooh.
Dirty.
Dirty girl. Around this time, Mr. Holm had to resign from rector of university and he had to decide to go back to England, with Juliet going to South Africa to stay with relatives. So yeah, because of the affair, the family just separated. Again, they'd be going through quite a bit of stuff. I do feel sorry for Mr. Holm.
What was the mother's name?
I don't know. I actually don't think I found it. But I found the mum and dad's name for Pauline.
Pitiful, whatever the mother's name is.
Yeah, it's not very good.
You're not happy, but leave, don't
Exactly,
cheat.
just leave, yeah. Oh well, all good. Just like 60, 70 years ago now, I guess, but still not okay. Cheating is not okay, people. So Pauline and Juliet were very worried about the upcoming separation, as their friendship had grown to an obsession with each other. As you can understand, because they had their whole world together. Yeah, so they thought that Mrs. Holm might let Pauline go with Juliet to South Africa, but Pauline's mum, they thought, wouldn't. So Honorah, I can't even say it.
Pauline's mother. Carry on.
She's an essential part, though, as everyone knows.
Where are we looking? Where are we reading?
Honorah. That's Honorah.
Yes.
Honorah. Yeah, okay. Honorah. My apologies if it's not. I really should have Googled it. So their plan was to go, so Pauline and Juliet's plan was to go to South Africa together, and then they were going to go to America so they could publish their books and become actresses. So I'm guessing...
I bet it was. Oh.
Well, that was everyone's plan, I guess, at that age. Every girl's dream.
I'm going to be a famous actor.
See, that's when they should have named themselves Beyonce, because they might have had more stardom back then. I don't know how it works. So in the afternoon of the 22nd of June 1954, so they would have been about 16. Oh, no, they would have been turning 16. Honorah, I think it's Honorah. Yeah, okay. Honorah. Yeah, Honorah, Pauline, and Juliet went for a walk in Victoria Park. They stopped for tea at the park's tea rooms, and they were served by the owners, Keith and Agnes Ritchie. After they'd finished, they continued along the path for their walk. So they just went for a little snacky snack, and then kept going. So soon after, the girls ran back to Keith and Agnes, very worried, and saying that Honorah had fallen and hit her head. They were covered in blood, so Agnes got very, very, very worried and took them inside to clean them up and make sure they're okay. And then Keith went to look for Honorah, and he found her around 3:30 p.m. and called the police. I wonder why he called the police. Yeah, so Honorah was found about 130 metres away from the tea rooms with major injuries to her head, neck and face.
That you wouldn't get from falling.
No, that you would not get from falling. So it was later found by a pathologist that she had 45 external injuries with 24 to the face and scalp, and she also had fractures to the front of her skull. And when police looked around the scene, they found some stockings and half of a brick under some nearby trees.
Oh, goodness.
And no, this is the worst part. It was later found that the brick had fallen out of the stocking due to the sheer force behind the hits. Yeah. Yeah.
Are they stockings like the stockings I'm wearing, though? Because...
Well, I think so.
If I kneel, these almost rip on me.
They must have been very strong stockings.
So a brick flying around, is that going to be if I pull too hard on these, if I itch myself too hard?
Well, no, maybe it was double layered though, because we've got two legs, right? And then, so maybe they put it in. I don't know. I've never killed somebody with let alone with a brick. So
let's keep it that way.
I couldn't explain it. Well, I'd best say we could test it, but that might look a bit dodgy. So around this time, Pauline and Juliet were very shaken up, and they went back to the Hulmes home. After they had cleaned up, Pauline was very pale and quiet, but Juliet was the opposite, and she couldn't stop talking. So different reactions to stressful situations, I guess. So they
one extreme to the next, isn't it?
Yeah, very extremes, people. I mean, opposites attract, I guess. So it kind of worked out. They were in bed by the time the police came to the house to talk to them. So the police asked what happened, and Juliet added another detail to the story, saying that Pauline and Honorah had a fight, and she wasn't there when Honorah fell. So that was just them when they previously said that Honorah had fell, and then now she's adding that that Juliet wasn't there.
Does she keep adding on?
Well, we'll get there.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, jumping in here.
So Pauline agreed with her, so she agreed that Juliet wasn't there when Honorah was hit. The police then arrested Pauline and took her away for questioning, as you would, after finding that evidence. But so the police stayed around a bit, and by the next morning they'd found Pauline's diaries, because every girl kept a diary. I actually still did for a little bit when I was growing up too.
I have never been able to keep a diary,
Oh, I did, it's intermittent, so I'd write it. I found one the other day actually, because I brought it over when I moved, but I wrote one, and then 3 months later there's another entry. Yeah. Maybe I just didn't have much to talk about. Probably not. They found her diaries. So Pauline had written about Juliet going to South Africa and how her mum wouldn't let her join her, assuming Honorah wouldn't let her join them. And so she planned to murder her so she would be allowed to go. So she wrote about it, documenting her every move. And it was also written that Juliet was a part of the murder, and they had planned to use half a brick in a stocking to kill Honorah.
I
mean, if you're planning something, why write about it? Or maybe a brainstorm. A brainstorm bubble.
but they're 16, so I don't think I was dumb at 16, but I don't think I was that dumb.
Yeah. And so what was most shocking was the title of the 22nd of June, so the date of the murder, and it was called The Day of the Happy Event.
That is... If you're going to call it something like that, you could be a wee bit more creative. The day of the happy event.
And also, it's about your mum as well, because you can't go to South Africa. Well, supposedly, you didn't even ask your mum, so you've assumed that you won't be able to go to South Africa with your best friend. Again, I can see why her mum probably wouldn't let her go. But my next step wouldn't be to kill her.
No.
Yeah.
I would have a talk to my mum and be like, if you don't let me go, I might kill you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure her mother would have let her go. I would never kill my mum. I love my mum.
Yeah, I was just going to say. Also, yeah, so because of this, Juliet was also arrested for the murder. Understandably, after reading that entry. Unless Pauline was super smart beyond her years and then wrote it down. So killed her mum and then wrote it down and incriminated Juliet as well.
Oh.
I don't think that's what happened though.
No, because they were arrested in bed.
Yeah. So Pauline and Juliet were tried in Christchurch at the Supreme Court of New Zealand. So the evidence presented by the witnesses was mainly about the very close relationship between Pauline and Juliet. So many thought they were dating, including the parents, because we talked about that earlier. There was also questions about their sanity. So remember that they created their own heaven. And it was the fourth wall that I put on brackets here. And they also had a fantasy world where they changed their names to Gina and Deborah. Again, I do not know why, but they did it.
Isn't your netball coach called Gina?
Well, yeah, but that wasn't her choice. No, it's not. I do like the name, but again, if I got to choose my own name, it would be something a lot more extravagant.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so sorry, Gina. Shout out to you, but
you're great.
We do love you. But yes, I would definitely call myself something more extravagant. Again, like Beyonce. A white girl called Beyonce. I love it. Hair flip. Blah, blah, blah. Fancy going to change your name. And so that when Holmes decided to send Juliet to South Africa, the girls became very upset and reacted violently. And so, again, that was when their insanity was called into it, because they reacted violently.
Like an insanity played.
Yeah. So 2 psychiatrists, so their names are Reginald Medlicott and Francis Bennett. I add them in because I needed more length to my podcast. They weighed in and thought that the belief in a fourth world paradise was evidence of insanity, and that they did not follow the Bible. So it was said that the girls felt that they had a moral right to kill Honorah. So again, like I said at the start, they had different morality. Yeah. So a moral right. Oh no, my best friend's moving to South Africa and my mum might not let me go. That is reason for me to kill her.
Instead of just asking.
Yeah, instead of just asking. And then when saying no, have a hissy fit in my room. That's what a normal person would do, right?
I know, just scream into your pillow. Get over it, girl.
And then run away, climb through the window, run to your neighbour's house.
Run to Africa.
There you go. However, the Crown prosecutor disagreed with this, and the jury rejected the defence's idea that Pauline and Juliet were insane. Doesn't really seem... I didn't actually go into it, but they just rejected it, because they kind of knew everything that was going on. Though I guess now there are different levels of insanity. But, I don't know. I think they knew what they were doing, but they just didn't want to be separated.
Yeah, I thought it. That's a dramatic move.
Yeah, that's what the judge was probably saying. He's like, well, no, they knew what they were doing, but they were just so obsessed with each other that they didn't care. So that makes sense. Okay.
You've worded that very nicely.
Thank you.
I quite like that.
Thank you. I did very well. Was on the spot. So it didn't seem like the girls cared, and they were seen sitting next to each other and happily whispering. I mean, I suppose...
Why would you put them next to each other?
I know, it's not the smartest.
They're being tried for murder.
Yeah. And also...
1950s.
Yeah. Well, they had cool dresses back then as well, I think, too. Sorry, that was just a sidetrack.
I agree.
Yeah. Anyway, so the trial lasted 6 days, and the jury deliberated for just 2 hours and 12 minutes, and obviously they found Pauline and Juliet guilty. So the girls were convicted on the 28th of August 1954, and on their way out of the court, a policewoman overheard Juliet say to Pauline, "The old girl took a bit more killing than we thought." yeah, when I read that, I was like, hold up. It's like...
Not the time.
Definitely not the time, no. And so shocked, the policewoman spoke to Juliet about it, and then Juliet responded, oh, aren't we the perfect little policewoman? What?
Whoa, sassy.
As they were too young for the death penalty, so they were younger than 18, like I think they were 16 and 15, or yeah, I don't know, something like that. They instead were sentenced to 5 years each in prison. So 5 years each for a murder because they were younger.
5 years.
That's nothing, eh? That's ridiculous.
Crazy.
So they were separated. So Pauline went to Paparua prison near Christchurch, and Juliet went to Mount Eden before being transferred to Arohata in Tawa. So they were released in November 1959, and the rumour was that they were not allowed to contact each other upon their release, but this was disconfirmed by the Secretary for Justice at the time, Sam Barnett. So yeah, there would have been a big rumour being like, oh no, they can't contact each other because they did it together and they were unhealthily obsessed. But yeah, apparently...
So they're saying that they didn't put that in place?
No, they were still allowed to contact each other, supposedly, according to the Secretary for Justice. So yeah, there was that. So Juliet's release was unconditional. She said that she left for Italy... Oh no, that's just a typo. So she left for Italy as soon as she was released and was given the name Anne Perry. She ended up settling in England and has become a successful historical crime writer. And yeah, so she did kind of get to where she wanted to be.
She's got real life experience.
Yeah, so good on her, I guess. And according to a recent Stuff article, she has sold more than 25 million copies of her books. So she's very successful.
I was just checking our book on it to make sure it wasn't written
Well,
by
no, because she writes about crime, though. So, historical crime. Well, I suppose it is historical, so it could have been that. Still ridiculous, though. I honestly do not think that if you murdered someone for no reason, you should be allowed to...
reap the reward.
Yeah.
Book.
Well, it's not even... I don't even know if she wrote a book about it, but just get any income from a book, really. It was a bit stupid. That's not... Yeah.
She's going to make a living, but I don't think she...
Yeah, but not that way. You can't... Yeah.
25 million copies?
More than. Yeah.
Ooh.
So, I mean, impressive. What the hell?
It's a big bug.
Oh.
Okay, it stopped moving.
Okay. So when Pauline was released, she was placed on 6 months parole in New Zealand. So I'm guessing she had conditions because it was her mum. And...
She wrote.
She initiated it, I guess. Yeah. So she was also given a new name of Hilary Nathan, and she left for England once her release became unconditional. So, it said 6 months parole, but I saw another source that it was like a couple years before she went to England. So yeah, it was something like that. I don't know how it works. So she spoke about the murder in 1996 and says she felt remorseful for murdering her mum, as you should.
Oh, definitely.
As you should. And her older sister Wendy had stayed on Pauline's side the whole time and said it took Pauline about 5 years to fully understand what she had done.
Interesting decision.
I mean, sister's got a sister's back, but it has its limits. It definitely has its limits, and I think that...
Murder is a limit.
Yeah. Especially if it's your mum.
Yes.
Yeah. So she spoke about the murder in 1996 and said she felt remorseful for murdering her mum. So her older sister Wendy had stayed on Pauline's side and said it took Pauline about 5 years to fully understand what she had done. She should have understood it from the moment she did it or before she did it, and then she could have stopped herself. But
we wouldn't be here right now.
Exactly. So I was going to say thank you, but that's not
we don't like what you've done.
No, we really don't.
We do not support this.
So an article said Pauline now runs a children's horse riding school and has refused all interviews.
And
she runs a children's horse
riding school.
She's
allowed around children.
Yeah.
And horses.
Yeah. Yeah, so interesting, but all good. Or whatever. And going back to Juliet, it wasn't well known that she went by Anne until 1994. So maybe that was when she started getting famous with her books. I don't know. Juliet also confirmed that her and Pauline were obsessed with each other, but they weren't dating in any way. So it must have been just like a friendship.
Yeah, really intense
obsession.
Friendship.
Yeah. And maybe people like that are out there who don't commit murders.
Good on you.
Good on you. You've got a healthy friendship. Well, bordering on unhealthy, but still healthy. And you're not murdering people. I think that's pretty impressive. She claimed she helped Pauline murder her mum because Pauline had said she would commit suicide if she didn't help. So a little bit of emotional blackmail.
That's awful. I've
Yeah.
heard someone do that to me.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awful.
It's not fun, isn't it?
No.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're okay. Hopefully they're okay.
Yeah, they're still alive.
Okay, well, that's good then. So Justine's way to justify the murder. Justify.
I just want to clarify, it wasn't if I didn't help them murder someone.
It was suicide.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It was something else.
Oh, I see what you mean. Sorry, I just clicked.
Yeah, they didn't try and blackmail me into murdering someone.
Is that why we made this podcast?
They had trauma.
So Justine's way to justify the murder and the reason she does not think of Honorah now is because she was someone I barely knew, in her words. How would you barely
She barely knew.
Yeah, well, how would you barely know your best friend's mum, though? I mean, you'd be hanging out with her quite a bit. I suppose
She
they
was
was
too
at her
focused
parents'
on
house.
her
True,
mate.
maybe. Yeah. That's fair. And I suppose because Pauline was always at Juliet's place. What do I call her, Justine? Juliet's place, then.
It's the second time you've done that.
Oh, well, I'm not very onto it today. It's been a long day. It's been a long, long day. So, fun fact here, in the middle of a murder podcast, is matricide is the term that describes Pauline's crime and is used for the killing of one's own mother. And it's very rare that this type of crime would even happen, and even more rare that a person Pauline's age or younger would commit it. So, hidden the history books, hidden the Guinness World Records. Oh, it's terrible. Yeah, don't do it, kids. Don't do it. It's not something you should be proud of. So yeah, this case remains one of New Zealand's most infamous murders and lives on in popular culture due to the many adaptations made because of it. So it was made into 2 movies, a French movie which I can't pronounce the name of and I will not bother trying because I can't do it, and the well-known 1994 movie Heavenly Creatures, which we talked about at the start of the podcast. Yes. So there's that, and again, still haven't watched it. I probably should have watched it because I was doing this case, but
There could have
I
been
do the bare minimum.
an adaptation in there that was like made up for drama or something as well, so you've most probably done the right thing.
Yeah, probably. Would have been interesting to watch though. But also get scared very easy. I think we've already covered this. But yeah, so I'm glad I didn't watch it anyway. So it sounds. Oh yeah. So I'm covering a little bit more about the Heavenly Creatures. So it sounds like it shows Pauline and Juliet's point of view as well as focusing on the murder. So it kind of shows a bit of both. So yeah, fictional-ish. It would be kind of interesting, yeah. So there was also a play for radio and 2 stage shows out of it. And even more, 2 novels were also inspired by the murder. So they were All the Birds Singing by Evie Wilde and These Violent Delights by Micah Nimeriver.
You know what's quite funny? You just mentioned novels and you didn't even mention the novel that I gave you.
Oh. I've had that in front of me for so long. Who's that by? Oh no,
It's called So Brilliantly Clever by Peter Graham.
Okay, I don't even know how I didn't see that.
It's got pictures.
It's got pictures
Yeah, it's got
of
pictures.
the murder stuff.
No.
Oh.
No, it's got pictures of them.
Oh. Oh, they're the movie. They're the movie people.
the movie people.
I don't know what that's from.
No.
Just a picture of like a flying pony.
I'm gonna read this.
Yeah, this should be good. I get nightmares very easily, so maybe not. So I just want to touch on Honorah a little bit. So she was actually born in England at a similar time and place to Mr. Hulme, coincidentally. So Juliet's dad, yeah. So she moved to New Zealand in 1927 at the age of 18, and she met her partner Herbert there, so Pauline's dad,
Yes.
at an accounting firm they both worked at, and he was 15 years older than her. A go-getter, that one. All good. Age is just a number.
Cradle snatcher.
Oh, yeah. I don't actually know when they met each other. If she was like a teenager and they met up, that's a bit strange. But I reckon if you're in your 20s, then you kind of know what you're doing. Especially a girl, because it's a hot take, probably not super hot. girls mature faster than men do, so maybe it was a good matchup. I don't know.
I don't know. I've met some pretty crazy girls.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe just in my life. So they relocated to Christchurch together in 1936, where they had 4 children, and of course Pauline and Wendy, which I talked about earlier, but the oldest one passed away due to cardiopulmonary defects. Not Wendy, it was the oldest.
Oh, it's COPD.
Is it? No, that's the breathing thing. And the youngest, Rosemary, was diagnosed with intellectual disability, and she was sent to Templeton Farm, which was an institution at the time. So normally in those, well, not normally, but they'd get separated from their parents, I guess, but it says here that they visited her lots, so I think they just...
You should look into that, because I can almost guarantee they'll have some interesting practices there. They would have.
Most definitely. Yeah, most definitely. The 1950s, I don't think people were very... What did the kids say? Woke. Woke at the time. Yeah, so no, that's a good idea, actually. I should look into that. That'll be another case, maybe. So yeah, she was sent to Templeton Farm, and the family visited her lots there. So I think,
that's nice.
Again, yeah, that's nice. I mean, I suppose it was the norm, I guess, to send them away. So they must have just thought they were doing what was right by Rosemary. So yeah. So around this time, also, Honorah opened her boarding house and started taking in teaching students. They were also close to the university, so it may have taken in a few students from there also. So yeah, so Pauline lived close to where Juliet's dad worked at the uni when he was rector.
Oh yeah.
So not much else is known of Honorah other than that she was 45 years old when she died and described as an ordinary mother.
What a way to end it. She was ordinary.
Yeah. Well, I tried to find positive things, but maybe I just didn't document it too much back then.
No.
But I was like, oh, okay. But she cared for her daughter. She went out on walks with her.
I'm sure she had some lovely qualities, but at least they didn't say she was a bad mother. But we don't know that.
Yeah.
She could have been. But she may not. She was ordinary.
I really shouldn't have finished that note.
That's great.
But yeah, so that was the case.
That is crazy. How awful.
Yeah, going into it, I knew a bit about it, but I was quite shocked about the fact that the brick literally fell out of the stocking because of the sheer force. Although, like I said, maybe we should test it, just swing it around and see if that does happen. But yeah, so...
You have to admit though, I sort of do feel, I'm not sure which one now, but the
Pauline's mum.
The bone disease.
The bone disease. Oh, osteomyelitis.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, it does, eh?
I feel,
especially
definitely.
Getting surgery to remove part of your bone.
Yeah, you feel sorry. Is that now or is that back then? Because I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have done that back then.
No, I Googled it.
Oh, did they?
I literally just typed it into Dr. Google and that's what it told me. That they removed the infected bone.
That would have been awful at such a young age.
Well, yeah, I wonder if she even did it though. I mean, I'm guessing they did because they were very rich, but I don't even know. It doesn't say that she actually did it. And I only got it from Google, so...
I definitely, that would have been awful growing up with, but that does not excuse what she's done.
No, especially sassing the police.
Oh, yes. Definitely, that was crazy. What a crazy case. How fucking awful.
Yeah, so I thought I'd do like an older one, so that was 70 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. That was quite informational.
Informative. That's the word. Cool. Well, thanks for listening, guys. We'll be recording our next episode very soon. But you have to wait a week for it. Oh. So, yeah, I'm Andi.
And I'm Ayla.
And that was
Sinister Dynasty.